All right, welcome to the show, guys. I'm Julian Castle, and today I'm joined by a tech leader, Dustin Hillis. Dustin has led a Southwestern family of companies, which had 20 different companies that he was the CEO of. And right now, he is leading SafeSpaceGlobal.ai, which is a publicly traded AI company with the sticker of SSGC.
Welcome to A-List Conversations, where we have real talk with experts on how they build the skills, mindset, and network to become an A-lister, and how you can too. I'm your host, Julian Castle. Let's get down to business.
Dustin, how you doing today?
Good. Thanks for having me on. Glad to be here and excited to be talking to you about everything AI, my new book, Capacity, and all the fun things.
Amazing, amazing, wonderful. So tell us a little bit about, before we dive into your background, kind of like the scope of the things you were doing, kind of like the revenue, the size of the team that you were leading, at the Southwestern families of companies, and then now at SafeSpace Global. So we have a little bit understanding about, where you're at.
Yeah, absolutely. And gosh, I guess you have to go back 25 years. And I started off actually selling door to door and working 85 hours a week, straight commission, and did really well. I finished number one out of about 3,000 salespeople my first summer as a college student at University of Tennessee. Then my second year did well, recruited a team of 8 people, learned about leadership as a sophomore in college. And then my third year, I broke the all-time company sales record. So that was number one out of over 150,000 salespeople that had been doing that job since 1855. So that was pretty fun, breaking that sales record. I made $100,000 in a summer, and that's back when $100,000 was actually a lot of money. And so I was on the Dave Ramsey radio show after that. He had me interviewed and was asking about how to graduate college debt-free. So that was my first media appearance ever as a college student, was on the Dave Ramsey radio show. So that was fun.
That's amazing.
And then from there, they asked me to start their professional consulting, coaching, speaking, training business, which I did with a couple of partners. And we grew it rapidly. We started off as a seminar business. We were road warriors. We would sell tickets at $300 a pop, fill a room. And then it was funny. I was 26 years old, and I was in San Francisco. A guy bought like 30 tickets to the seminar. He's probably, oddly enough, my age now. And he said, "Man, we're so excited for my team to come to your seminar. Who's the keynote speaker?" And without even thinking about it, I looked at him and I said, "Well, I am." And he just like kind of had this funny look on his face, and I just walked out of the room. And so he's like, "Who is this 26-year-old kid that's going to teach me something?" And so from there, we then started the coaching business. It rapidly grew. I was in 15 different countries, had 4 different coaching curriculums created, had our curriculum translated into 5 different languages. So we were in Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, Bulgaria, Israel, all through South America. We were in Canada, and then all over the United States. We had 120 coaches worldwide. So from there, that was the most profitable company out of the 20 companies, and they asked me to become CEO of the entire family of companies, and was able to rapidly grow the revenue and the profit as CEO, and grew the 20 core businesses that I was responsible for. Had about 2,000 salespeople that at that point that I was responsible for. So that was a fun journey. Very difficult. Was ready for the next chapter. Moved on and took a year off, actually. I bought an RV, took my daughter out of school, and did road schooling in an RV for a year. So
That sounds so cool.
it was very cool. If you ever get a chance to do a sabbatical and get the RV and do the thing, it was cool. We drove from Nashville, Tennessee to Cabo, Mexico, from Cabo, Mexico to Spokane, Washington, from Spokane, Washington to Skaneateles, New York, and then back to Nashville, Tennessee. And there was 42 stops in between, and we did that over about a year.
Wow, so many memories. That's amazing.
It was cool.
Super.
Mainly for my daughter, who was in 5th grade at the time. So then from there, people were calling me going, hey, man, what are you going to do next? You know, I posted on LinkedIn. I was on the market or whatever. And so through that journey, I learned a lot of what I didn't want to do, which was a lot of the same. I'd spent 20 years over at Southwestern, and I thought, I want to do something totally different. So I created three guiding principles for what I was going to do next. Principle number one was I was not going to work with assholes. I was only going to work with people that I enjoyed being around, that I had fun with. Principle number one. Principle number two is that whatever I was going to do had to have macroeconomic tailwinds, meaning people need what we were selling, people want what we were selling, and that the market was trending for it to be a growth sector, not something that was like having to really sell the thing you were doing that people didn't really need or want.
Right.
And then the third thing was it had to have the ability to scale to over $1 billion. I already had been a CEO of a company that was doing over $100 million. So I naturally wanted to have that be the next check mark of saying, hey, I led a company to $1 billion. So as I was looking at that, there were a few sectors that really checked the boxes if you looked at macroeconomic data, one of them being AI, another one being healthcare, another one being drone technology. So that was 3 of the top 10. This is probably 4 years ago when I did that research. And actually, the first company, so I started a business. It's called All Things New Ventures. The website's allthingsnewventures.com, and it was a sweat equity business. And I thought, I could help grow businesses in exchange for equity, be like a board member, like a management functioning board member. And so that was my original idea, and had about 5 small companies that I was helping grow. And then one day at church, my buddy Ben, who is a co-founder of a military drone technology company, said, hey, man, I know you're not the CEO of that big company anymore. What are you doing? And I told him about All Things New Ventures. And he said, well, we have a really interesting company. It's called Tough Stump Technologies. And we help military and first responders with situational awareness, basically drones, mapping, and tracking and training for special ops. And I thought, man, that sounds like the coolest job in the world. Let's talk about it. That sounds really patriotic too. So I met his business partner, Jarrett Heavenston. We call him Fish as his nickname. And they're just the coolest guys ever. I met the team, the coolest team ever. I was the only non-military guy in the room. And they asked me to be their chief strategy officer. So I was super excited about that. We started growing that business. We actually recently looked at the value of the company over the past 2 years of working together, and we've 10x'd the value of the business. So that's been fun, putting systems in place, and a lot of what we'll talk about. That's in my book, Capacity, where we created an executive strategy. We created a business development strategy, a marketing strategy, a legal strategy, and a finance strategy. And those 5 pillars are how we 10x'd that company. Then, I started talking with a bunch of private equity people and venture capitalists. And they were looking at some of these different businesses I was helping grow the value of. And I thought to myself, I could do this. So I went to a capital raising conference in Florida called Fund Launch Live. I paid my own ticket to get there, and I was by myself, which I don't know if I've ever been to a conference by myself, but this one I was. And I met this guy, Scott Boruff, literally walking down the hall. There's over 1,000 people at this conference, and me and him were the only 2 guys in the main hallway of this massive conference. And I was with one of my business partners to go to a networking event, and she wanted a photo of the Fund Launch Live sign with a big bull on it. And I just stopped him and said, hey, man, would you mind taking our photo? He's like, sure. So he takes our photo, and then he's with his business partner. He goes, take our photo. So we did. We got to talking, and next thing we know, we had complete alignment. He already had a publicly traded company. At the time, it was called Healthcare Integrated Technologies, and he had a stock ticker, HITC. And he heard my background about Southwestern, organically growing the coaching business and then becoming CEO and managing all 20 businesses. And he said, "Man, you're my who." I said, "What does that mean?" He goes, "My favorite book is Who Not How." And
Yeah.
he said, "You're the guy I've been looking for to help grow these businesses." And he said, and I said, "It's interesting. You're my who. I came here to learn how to raise $10 million, and you already have a publicly traded company, and that's what I came here to learn to do is how to raise money." So he came to Nashville, Tennessee, with his wife Julie, and took me and my wife Kaya to dinner. By the end of it, we shook hands and said, "Let's be business partners." I then went to Knoxville to evaluate this really cool technology he had invested millions of dollars into that does AI for healthcare, for senior living. So I went to the senior living facility. They had the cameras up, and it was basically helping elderly people from doing elopements. So if somebody has dementia and they're trying to leave a senior living facility, it's dangerous. And AI, we have a patented technology that actually stops it. So they can't physically go out the door. It's using facial recognition. It's tied to the mag locking system. Alerts go off once somebody that's been tagged as an elopement risk is trying to leave. It's really, really cool. And I went and saw that as my very first thing to, as a partner with Scott in healthcare integrated technologies. And I thought, this has legs. This could be huge. It also had four other products built into it. It had a text to register product where you can't physically go into the senior living facility without AI facial reading, text message, your name to the number. So it logs in your name, it logs in your number, it logs in your facial recognition. Then anywhere you go in that facility, we know exactly where you were, what you did. So any incident that happens, you can do what in the senior living world they call an investigation. So what used to take 8 hours for an investigation, with our AI, it takes 8 minutes, and it's a game changer. So those are just two examples. So fast forward, we start building the team. My first meeting with Scott was me and 3 other people. That was the entire company. And he also said, "Hey, the first thing we need to do is raise money." He personally paid my paycheck for the first month of being there because we had no money. So, but he had the instrument to raise capital and the publicly traded vehicle. So we went to work. We put a pitch deck together and started making phone calls. And over the course of 3 months, we raised $10 million as a friends and family round. And it was pretty cool because that was my goal, was to learn how to raise $10 million. And in my mind, I thought if I gave myself 2 years to do it, that'd be pretty good. And we did it in 3 months. We raised $10 million. And so, thank you. It was fun, and that kind of set the course for everything else. From there, I was able to do my favorite thing, which is recruit A+ people, build out the team, and we did. We recruited some of the best people in the world. If anybody wanted to check it out, you could go to www.SafeSpaceGlobal.ai and just click on the About Us section, and you'll see 50 of the top executives and top salespeople and top technology people in the world. So we opened up offices in Singapore, opened up an office in India. We have team members in the UK, and then team members all across the United States. Our tech team is the best. Our CTO is a guy named Anand. He built a company called Tech Genyasa, which he ended up selling for $1.6 billion, and he was one of 6 co-founders. And he is currently our CTO. So he has 30 tech people that report to him, and that's where we're deploying the $10 million that we raised, is to really build out world-class technology. Our vision, so we had a name change. So we pivoted the company from healthcare to schools, transportation, and to schools, transportation, prisons, and commercial buildings, in addition to the healthcare. And within that, we have new products where we're doing gun detection. We're on a mission to help stop school shootings, and also within transportation, identifying people that are on the do not ride list or the terrorist watch list, and all of this is through our products with AI. So our vision is to be the global leader in multimodal AI, and our mission is to help save lives. And then our four core values are have fun, integrity, customers come first, and technology that matters. And so that was a mouthful, but you asked for my whole life story, so there you go.
That's amazing. No, that's amazing. Congrats. You are, at a place where a lot of people, can learn a lot from. So that's great. And
Real quick, guys, no ads here, just real stories. The only ask I have is you spread the word. Rate, review, or share this podcast. It may inspire someone out there to reach new heights.
I just kind of want to talk a little bit about what pulled you into entrepreneurship. Like, did you go into sales, back in college when you were like, hey, this is just like the best way to make money? Or were you pulled before that? Like, did you want to see yourself doing all of this? Did you have a vision for this, or did it just kind of fall like one step, in front of the other?
Great question. So I played college football for my first 2 years in college. I was a middle linebacker. And up to that point in my life, that's all I did was work out and play football. and I hadn't put much thought into what I wanted to do with the rest of my life till I got hurt. And it's funny because oftentimes the worst thing that happens to you ends up being the best thing that happens to you. So I ended up getting too many concussions playing linebacker, and I thought it was the worst thing that ever happened. Went home back to Dalton, Georgia. My dad set me down and said, "Son, what are you going to do with the rest of your life?" And I said, "I have no idea." At the time, I thought it was going to be something in sports. But he ended up saying, "Hey, there's this company called Southwestern where you go and sell books door to door, and I think you should go do that." And I said, "Dad, you're the sales guy. I'm going to do something in sports. That's not for me." And he said, "Well, I know you want that car that you were telling me about." And I said, "Yeah." He goes, "How are you going to pay for that car?" And I said, "I thought you were going to pay for it." And he said, "I'll tell you what. If you go sell books door to door this summer, I'll pay for half of," because I wanted a Lexus, of course.
Yeah.
And so he said, "I'll pay half of it." And I said, "Dad, I don't know." He goes, "I've seen kids in one summer make $20,000 selling books door to door." And I said, "Okay, sign me up." And so,
wow.
that's how I got into it.
Congrats. So you had a father that was in sales and kind of led you in that way, and
Yeah. He started his own carpet company. He was an entrepreneur as well. He actually sold his company to Southwestern. So that's how he knew Southwestern, is he had a company called Hillis Metro Flooring, sold his company, and then he got recruited by big carpet companies in Dalton. So he was the vice president of Mohawk Carpet, if you've ever heard of that. They're a big carpet manufacturer. So that was his background.
All right. So when it comes to like, a leadership principle, what do you think is the most overlooked principle that CEOs, overlook? You being
Yeah. Good question. The most overlooked principle that most CEOs face, I would say, is taking their focus off of the vision. I think the CEO's number one job is to be the manifester of the vision of the company. And as soon as the CEO starts talking about other things and they get too in the trenches, they get too focused on tactical initiatives, they lose sight of the vision. So the vision is what drives the culture. The vision is what motivates the team. The vision is what attracts other A-plus talent to join the team. And so as soon as the CEO starts getting too much into the financials, they get too much into problems. It's easy to get distracted when, as the CEO, you are the professional poop picker upper. Like, that's really what it feels like every day. It's not glamorous. People think it's glamorous, and if you got a big growing company, it's really, really hard. And so it's easy to get stuck in the minutia versus you keep your mind on the vision and you drive that vision.
Gotcha. Okay, that's impressive. So, being under pressure, growing a company to over $100 million in revenue, how do you deal with that? Like, what do you do in that situation to be able to just, take it all in and do something about it that can progress?
You do a lot. Really, that's what the book Capacity, Building Your Business Bigger Than You is all about. And it just was available on pre-sale on Amazon. And there's five pillars. Because I thought about that long and hard, too, of going, man, how did all these companies scale? What are the core things that are working? So principle number one is executive strategy. Without an executive strategy, you will not scale a business to $100 million. Typically, it doesn't happen on accident. So the executive strategy is, who do you have in the right seats? Who do you have that's taking things off of your plate? Who do you have that's building systems within your company to where you can focus on the bigger things as the CEO? The executive strategy is also, what does that timeline look like? What does the staffing model look like? What are the milestones as you're getting there to the big goal? Then you have to have a business development strategy. So that's the lifeblood of a business. Most entrepreneurs start off as the rainmaker, but they never learn how to transition out of that role. So you need to learn how to build recruiting systems, onboarding systems, and management systems. And most people never really figure that out. So if you're the CEO and you're the top producer, then your business is probably pretty limited. I do love getting in the trenches. I love selling. I still do it. And I'm not saying to stop doing it. I'm just saying if you're the sole source of business development, there will be a wall. I find it actually to be around $10 million, oddly enough. Through my coaching business, I was able to coach hundreds of CEOs. So I had a really good case study of CEOs that had $1 million businesses, 10 million, 50 million, 100 million, and a few billionaires. And the ones that were billionaires, they were not the top producers of their companies. They were really good at selling. They were really good at a lot of things, but they had built business development systems that propelled it to where they could focus on, if they were selling, it needed to be worth $1 million for them to personally do it versus they're out there killing the rabbits with everybody else. So that's the second one. The third one is marketing systems. So marketing is such a big concept. So it starts with your brand, and the CEO should be the driver of the brand. The CEO is the person that personifies the brand. And from there, you build systems within your brand identity that drives the brand forward. So that's your website, your marketing collateral, your social media, and you have specialists on the team that are handling that. And those are the marketing systems. The fourth is your finance systems. So without the money, there is no gas in the car. And so, and also sometimes people don't know how to leverage financing. So putting systems and processes in place around finance where you're leveraging sometimes, you're managing your cash, you're managing equity, you're managing your compensation plan, where it doesn't just have to be this basic cash on cash model that you have. There are other mechanisms that you can use to exponentially grow to $100 million with a financial strategy. Then the fifth one and the last one is legal strategy. And this one, a lot of people don't really think of, and they think, oh, I just leave that to the lawyers. But the CEO needs to be attuned to, what do your contracts say? What are the agreements you have with your vendors? What are your terms and conditions? How are you protecting intellectual property? All of that grows the value of the company. And if you just assume that lawyers are going to figure that out for you, you are assuming wrong. I have never met a lawyer that is just as good as being a businessman as a CEO as they are being a lawyer, or they would be a CEO and doing the things that the CEO knows how to do. So you cannot mentally delegate all your legal strategy to your lawyers. You have to be intimately involved with what's going on with your business legal strategy. And those five things, if you press on them hard enough and you have those five people eventually being in your C-suite that are reporting to you as CEO, and they're competent at driving those five pillars, you'll get to 100 million, you'll get to $1 billion and beyond, because those five pillars grow a business exponentially and increase your capacity to being bigger than you.
Amazing. Okay. So a lot of people, that are listening are probably have a small team, they're doing, maybe somewhere between 100,000 to a million or 250,000 or something like that. Now, obviously, the people, the recruiting, you said, the onboarding and the managing is a big part of scaling, because obviously you got to delegate to other people to take things off and you focus on the vision. So can you walk us through your best practices to, having, to recruiting, onboarding and managing? Like, how do you keep that professionally? And how do you scale that, as you start making more money?
Sure. So when you first start, you're doing everything. And I would say having your focus on bringing in revenue is the most important thing. I think sometimes people get so stuck in the weeds, especially once they start raising money, where they go, okay, I have to raise the money, then I have to perfect the marketing and the brand, and then they don't recruit the sales team. They don't get out there talking to customers, and then they build something that people don't want. And so I think you just getting out there personally, getting in the trenches, going on sales calls, talking to what you think should be your end customer is what drives everything to start. And it's a great example of, we were in the senior living housing and senior living facilities, I should say, and there's a lot of challenges with selling to senior living. We still are passionate about saving lives for seniors, and we think it's a huge need that we want to solve. But we also saw this lower hanging fruit from being out in the market, and schools and school shootings is even bigger problem here in the United States of America. So we thought, well, our technology can solve that too. So pivoting out of just one vertical, that is what we were in when I started, to now being in schools and our team talking with other folks in transportation, prisons, and all of those different sectors, broadened the scope to the point where we changed the company name from Healthcare Integrated Technologies to SafeSpace Global Corporation. But that all was from being out there in the trenches, talking to customers, that then drove the product development, that then drove the marketing. I mean, we've had 3 new websites in less than a year of growing this company.
Nice. And so what you're doing is you found a product that can hit different markets. And so you're going after, the healthcare, the prisons, the schools, the senior living, etc. And you're just growing it right now. What is this product? You mentioned a little bit about, the AI, the investigations that it takes usually 8 hours, but are reduced to 8 minutes. What are some other, case studies of like what your product does in these other sectors that actually allows the people to say, hey, this is a valuable thing that we can invest in?
Sure. So one of our customers is Brentwood Academy here in Nashville, Tennessee, and it's doing gun detection. So it's letting them know proactively if there's somebody in the school that has a gun, and it's notifying the SRO and the authorities and whoever else you want to notify that somebody has a weapon. Unfortunately, here in Tennessee, we've had several shootings. One of them happened a few years ago, Covenant school shooting, and that girl was walking around outside with her weapon for, I believe it was around 16 minutes with a brandished AR-15, I believe it was. And our technology would have seen that. It would have notified the authorities, and they would have taken her out before she even went into the school. And so, that's something that we're very passionate about. That's something our technology does. It's a multimodal approach. So what's unique about what our AI does compared to others that are out there is it's the backbone of the AI system is what we have built. And so what that means is you can it's camera agnostic. So you can have your own cameras, your own devices. Heck, you could plug in drones. You could plug in Boston Dynamic robot dogs. You could plug in drone sound identifiers, gun sound identifiers, you name it. Whatever the technology that's out there that's sensing what the threat is, our AI is the magic sauce that's processing it. So
Yeah.
it's in a box. It's in the Safe Space box. We're actually naming it. So we're doing a current review with our team to name the box. And so stay tuned for the name of our box. But
Yeah.
right now it's just I think our CTO called it the mother brain or something like that. So
Nice.
so that's what's unique is we can go to a school, we can go to a prison system, we can go to a healthcare facility, a large hospital, for example, and they've already invested hundreds of thousands of dollars in their equipment, in their
Right.
reactive equipment, their what we call
Right.
dumb cameras. And
Right.
we make the dumb cameras, which are very good cameras. They see
Yeah.
clearly, but we are the brain behind it that then notifies you when bad things are happening.
Right. That makes sense. Okay. Yeah, I totally understand. You're just plugging into the infrastructure and having this AI, just take on the data to find out any potential threats that could happen, and then notifying whoever to essentially get out there and help solve the problem. This
Yeah, so our core competency is facial recognition through AI,
Mhm.
object detection through AI, and notification through AI. We have some
Yeah.
other cool things where we can do like social media scraping and things to see if there's preemptive uh, alerts for school shootings. But those are really the three core things that our AI is doing in the background.
Super cool. And so when you were doing your research, right? Because you want this to be over $1 billion in revenue or valuation, right? What what is the total addressable market for this?
Yeah,
When it comes
great.
to
Yeah.
you know,
Sure, great question. Well, it's massive. So, I've been listening to a lot of like the CEO of NVIDIA, the CEO of OpenAI. Anytime Elon Musk is being interviewed, like all these guys are predicting, and all the investors. You got Peter Thiel and folks like that saying this
yeah,
is AI is already on track to be bigger than the internet.
wow,
So, how big was the addressable market of the internet? And I don't even know if there's a number for that. Um,
trillions.
yeah, it's trillions, and so AI is easily going to be trillions, and so it's hard to even it's moving so fast. If I told you a number now, if somebody watched this podcast 6 months from now, the number would be more. And so
Absolutely.
AI is inevitable. It's already in things people have no idea it's in, and it's just in the
Yeah.
background making things better. So what's cool is what's happened so far in the year that I've been president at Safe Space Global. When I started with the company, the stock was trading at about 6-7 cents per share, and the market cap was about $7 million. And as
Yeah.
of today, the stock is trading around 83 cents. I think it was before the bell today. And actually, the bell's going to be in 1 minute, so I'll check it in a minute and tell you. And then, the market cap's 150 million. So we've gone from
Nice.
a 7 million market cap to 150 million, and our stock's gone from 7 cents to 83 cents in less than a year.
That's amazing. That's amazing. And okay, great. And you guys are pre-revenue, right?
Yeah,
At this point.
yeah, that's what's fun is right now all of this growth is people watching what we're doing, seeing what we're doing, reading the news, reading the cues, and they're betting on the jockey, so to speak, where
Yeah.
we have 50 team members that are, or actually we're up to 80 now, and they're legit, and this is not our first rodeo. So right now,
Yeah.
that's what people are investing in. We do have revenue. We do have customers in senior living. We do have customers in schools. And then everything else you'll have to read in the news that's coming. But it's exciting times, and we're not sitting on our laurels. We are out there. It's about a 6-month selling cycle. So that kind of gives you an idea of like what could be happening in the background to get new customers going type of thing. So then We did publish that when we did the $10 million capital raise. A couple of important things with that is that gave us a 3-year burn rate runway. So we actually have zero debt and very low overhead, meaning a lot of these people that you see on the website are getting paid through equity. So we have very low expenses with $10 million in the bank. And we put, I believe it was 4 to 6 million. I'd have to go back and read our queue of how much we put in reserve as cash just on the books to do the uplist. So right now we're an over-the-counter, fully audited pink sheet company. And it is pretty rare for a company to go from pink sheet to uplist to the New York Stock Exchange. But our CEO, Scott Boruff, he's done it over 20 times. He raised over $1 billion on Wall Street, and he knows how to do it. So we're doing it. He's doing it again. I'm doing it for the first time. And so in order to do that, you have to get to $2 per share for over 30 days. So if you look at our stock, recently it's gone from about 30 cents to 80 cents in the last few weeks. So it's kind of an exciting time. Once it gets to $2 and it stays there for over 30 days, then we uplist. And once you uplist, you have access to the larger companies that can invest larger amounts of money, and you're out of the pink sheets. We might do a stop at the New York Amex, and then from there you would go to the New York Stock Exchange. So our vision is to ring the bell. To get to the New York Stock Exchange, you need to be trading at about $10 per share. So that would be going from today around 83 cents to $10 to ring the New York Stock Exchange bell. And what we put in our press release was our goal is to do that in 3 years.
Wow. Okay, so that's like a 10x, more than a 10x. You know, if you guys are at 86 cents.
From today. When I started a year ago, it was 7 cents. So
yeah. So that's incredible. And so you guys are your family round was the only money that you're raising, and so you only want to raise through public vehicles. Like, are you guys going to take venture capital as like, you know, seed round, you know, I guess A round?
Yeah, great question. Usually you do. So Scott's been talking to all these big money guys up in New York, and normally in a friends and family round, you usually raise about $2 million, and that kind of gets you out of the gate, and then you take on debt or whatever, and you do other rounds to get up to where you have enough cash to sustain velocity to hit cash flow neutral, and that's usually how it goes. And we had so many people that were interested in doing the friends and family round, and it was a minimum of $100,000 accredited investing type of friends and family stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, in 1 week, we went from 3 million to about 7 million in 1 week. It was bonkers, and that wasn't like big investors giving us millions. That was $100,000 at a time. It was that many people that were interested. So, and what's funny is Scott was telling one of his bankers up in New York that story, and that we now have $10 million. And he goes, "Who are your friends and family?"
Right. Yeah. Of course.
So we know some really cool people and we're thankful they believe in us, and we have that many people that invested that we ended up at 10 million. So what that allows us to do is once we do uplist, we don't need more cash. And that's why when you see most people uplist, it drops really fast, because the big banks come in, they put money in, then they short you, and they make money on both sides of the fence. Then you have to fight your way back up, and that's kind of the story of most companies that go public or whatever, or uplist in our case. And we're not going to have that because we don't need the cash. We have enough to sustain ourselves. So we will, once we uplist, get into mergers and acquisitions and start acquiring key product lines and things that add to what we're doing. And that'll be, you know, using bigger money with different vehicles and different tools attached to that. But it should not need to be what we've already done, which is it's a dilutive thing when you give up equity, as everybody knows. So right now,
Yeah.
it's our friends and family that we diluted ourselves with, which Scott loves, I love, because it's all of our friends and family that'll take the journey with us from 10 cents to $10.
Right, right. Yeah, that's amazing. So on a time scale, you're pre-revenue now. You're looking to get to $10 a share, in 3 years. At what point in time do you see like revenue being, something that comes into this equation?
Well, you have to be really careful as a publicly traded company to not cross any lines. So,
Right.
um, you know, uh, that's something that really I can't talk about. And
Right.
so,
Cool, cool, cool.
yeah. But what we did publish are some of the timelines that are the company's goals that are in our news press releases. So again, if you go
Yeah.
to go to E-Trade, go to Fidelity, go to Morgan Stanley, whatever where you buy stock, and you just type in SSGC. Usually underneath that is a news feed, and you can click on all that news, and you can see any news that has been published about the company. Also, overthecountermarkets.com or otcmarkets.com, and then you type in SSGC, and it shows you the valuation, shows you all the key officers. As a publicly traded company, I mean, you can see everything about me on there. You can see everything about Scott, the CEO, on there. Scott likes to say we live in a glass house, so you can read how much stock I've personally bought. You can
Yeah.
see. I mean, it's crazy. Like our contracts are in there. It's like, wow, this makes me feel very naked here. But that's how we say naked in the South. And so the yeah, so that's what I can say is everything that's in the
Gotcha.
news has been published. We always have news coming out, but you can't. And all the disclaimers are super important. Somebody needs to make their own judgment on buying and selling, and they need to just read the news. They need to look at also the market and see is this something they believe in? Do they think what we're in is a growing market? Do they think the team is a team that is competent, that knows how to grow a business? And then really you make decisions based on that versus trying to predict something that is more of a functional business type of thing, and so that's kind of the area that I have to be above board and not talk about. So
Gotcha. Absolutely understandable. So let's talk a little bit about your team. Obviously, because you guys are the jockey. So
Yeah.
so tell us a little bit about your company culture. What's important about it. You know, what is it?
Yeah. So I think that the mission, the vision, and the core values is what attracts the culture of the team. So starting with the vision to be the global leader in multimodal AI, just people, our team sees that as the future, and we want to be the people that train AI to do good. And
Yeah.
so, and that goes right into our mission, which is our mission is we help save lives. So between the vision of being the global leader of multimodal AI and then the mission of we help save lives, I mean, if you were to talk to any of our 80 team members, they would all say that's why they left Google. Theo Davies, our chief revenue officer, he was
Yeah.
the head of sales enablement at Google, left Google and picked up the phone and called me and said, look, what you guys are doing with AI is the future. There's not many step ups that I can do in my career after being the head of sales Asia for Google. And he said, but what y'all are doing is something that is a lateral move that I'm excited about, that I see as actually something that could be bigger than what I was
Yeah.
doing at Google, and I'm in. And so those are the type of people that we're attracting through, I think, the vision and the mission. The core values, I think, is what creates the culture. So number
Yeah.
one, having fun in the pursuit of success. So we're not just about having fun, wasting time, wasting money. That is not what having fun means. Having
Yeah.
fun means having fun while we're working. having fun with what we do every single day. You know, when what you do is something you love, it's fun and you don't feel like you're working. So that's really what that first core value is loving what you do. The second one is integrity. So integrity is defined as doing what you say you're going to do, period.
Yeah.
And if I do what I say I'm going to do, Scott does what he says he's going to do, and then all of our team members do what they say they're going to do, that creates the momentum for everything. The customers respond to that, the market responds to that, and that's how business should be done. The third core value is customers first. And putting customers first is what we do. That's how we develop products. Listening to our customers is how we design the next phases of the AI. Knowing that the customer is the lifeblood, the customer is the person. The way we look at it from an executive team is our sales team is a customer and the end user is a customer. So we have two customers that we're serving as an executive team. But we put the customers first and we put ourselves second. And as long as we make decisions towards that and we listen to our customers, everything seems to work out. Then the fourth one is technology that matters. And we believe technology will drive the future. We are in the technology age. So when they name an era of history after the thing, it's good to be in that business. So being in technology and technology that matters. So for us, our niche is technology that saves lives. We get behind that. There's going to be AI and everything, and it's going to be cool. It's going to be fun, but we want to be in the business of doing what's important. And for us, the vulnerable populations are where we started. So you got seniors, excuse me, you have seniors and you have kids. So that's where we started, was saving lives of seniors and kids, and then saving the lives of everything in between as we grow and progress. So from there, that attracts the right people. So by you living into your values, by you as a leader living into the vision and the mission, people come out of the cornfields, kind of like the field of dreams, where if you build it, they will come. And I mean, honestly, most of our team members, if I were to go through that website and tell you the story of how every one of those 80 people joined the team, it was them calling me saying, "Hey, man, this looks really cool. I want to be part of this." And I did recruit. We have recruited a few key people, but most of the team has been organically them saying, "I want to be part of this culture," and that's what I think is the right way to do it. I mean, if you're having to convince people to work for you, it must not be that cool. And so
for sure.
And so I think we're building it the right way.
Hey, real quick, guys, no ads here, just real stories. Are you thinking of owning multifamily properties? Let's do it together. Join my multifamily cohort. We'll learn from experts and help each other buy that first multifamily property. Head over to multifamilycohort.com.
Awesome. So where do you advertise, or where do you how do you talk about your business in a way that it gets people to actually call you? Because what I'm used to is you put an ad on Indeed or something, or are you putting on, LinkedIn posts, or, just what are you doing in order to get that attention, to get people actually calling you?
All of the above. I would say it's a multimodal marketing approach. So we're very active on Instagram. So if you wanted to follow me on Instagram, Dustin_Hillis, the one with the blue check. There is like 3 or 4 accounts out there. Do the one with the blue check, Dustin_Hillis. That one's a pretty good one. Our company Instagram, and then all the executive Instagram. We're pretty heavy on that. Justin Frashot is our capital advisor, and he's like a Instagram expert, and he helps us with that. So we then have LinkedIn. I've been pretty active on LinkedIn since it was invented. And so I personally post on LinkedIn a decent amount. When we do have a strategic role, such as like our technical hires when we're looking for a facial recognition specialist to be part of the tech team. I will go on LinkedIn and do like a post on the paid recruiting application on LinkedIn. I think it's the best. It's amazing. And you want to write a job description selling your vision, your mission, and your values. So I don't want to just sell the technical requirements of recruiting, somebody to be part of our team. I would rather them check us out, go see who they're going to be working with, see what we're all about, and fall in love with that versus I want a paycheck or I just, need a job. We're not interested in those people. We want people that are cut out of the same cloth, that believe in the same beliefs we believe in. And that's how we've been building the company. So even when we do a post like Indeed, LinkedIn, all the traditional stuff, what you write in the job description matters to get that right person. And that's really focused on the culture. And then the technical stuff's like at the bottom. So you still have to know what you're doing. But we want those people who are really smart, the best in their field, and they believe in what we're doing.
Cool. Okay, so let's talk about your role a little bit now. Like what do you do on a daily basis and how are you moving, the needle forward? Like what?
Everything.
You're like an octopus. You just got your tentacles on everything.
Yeah, there's a reason I'm losing my voice. It's a lot. Especially in the growth mode over the last year that we've been in. As I shared with you when I first started, it was me, the CEO, an accounting professional, a lawyer, and a tech guy who's no longer with us. And so that was the team, and we had a couple of independent contractors that we had to rebuild really kind of the team. And so until you have a team member doing a role, usually as the leader, you are that role. So you are the marketing person, you are the business development person, you are the HR person, you are the legal person. And so Scott has been an amazing partner, the CEO and founder of the company. So really me and him locked arms and said, let's just do this together. So we raised the money together. We made hundreds of calls with investors to get to $10 million. And it was one-on-one. Like we were doing one-on-one calls with investors, walking them through this PowerPoint that I just put together and, was talking about the vision, and we raised $10 million, one phone call at a time. We did do some webinars, and once we got to about 2 million, we started getting traction. So the first 2 million was one phone call at a time. Then we started doing speaking events, and we started doing some podcasts, and then we started doing one group fundraising calls, and that really caught the world on fire. But man, the hardest amount of money to get is that first 100,000. I bet we made 20 calls to get the first person to give us $100,000. So it's kind of crazy how that works. And then from there, once you have money, you can actually pay people, you can recruit, you can do things once you have money. So, and a lot of the recruiting I personally have done. Scott's recruited some key people. Like we needed a new CFO, and he went out there and got us a world-class publicly traded CFO. So the way we run the business is Scott does the publicly traded side. So as CEO, he's doing our Qs, our Ks. He's managing the finance team. The finance team, our CFO, Tim, he manages the finances, the accounting team, and also legal. So that's kind of the structure. Is Scott's doing publicly traded stuff. Tim is doing CFO money stuff. And then I'm functioning just running the day-to-day operations with the sales, the marketing, the product development, and all of the team that's driving revenue and operations. So that's how we ended up. But to get there was a year-long journey of hitting it hard. You work your ass off. That's the short answer. Is you do whatever it takes. You go all in. No job is too small. I love Scott. As CEO of a big company, you forget things like taking out the trash because you have, 1,000 people that report to you. when there's a team of 3 people, Scott was taking out the trash. And I was like, oh
Right.
yeah, this is what it feels like to start a company. So I've had to rewire my mind. I already had some of that at Tough Stump Technologies, where it was a smaller team. And my business partner, Ben Brown, he was saying, hey man, like, get in the boat and row. Like, we were having a meeting one time, and he could tell I was like giving ideas. And he goes, I'm not writing down what you're saying. And I was like, oh. And he goes, are you not going to do the things you're saying? And I'm like, well, I thought I was just sharing the idea. And it occurred to me that I was so used to having a team of people where my job was to think of the idea, share the
Right.
idea, tell them how to do it. Then I walk out of the room, and a week later it's done. And, as a CEO of a $100 million company, you have that luxury. Well, number one, I wasn't CEO anymore. I was the chief strategy officer. And then number two, the team, at Tough Stump was about 15 people at the time. And so it was like, well, I guess I need to write down my own words, and I need to do the things I'm saying out loud. And so that was like a mind shift for me, was remembering, okay, when like you have to walk before you run. Mm-hmm. And that's a good lesson if anybody's been in my shoes before, where you've had a bigger company that you were part of, and then you're shifting into entrepreneur land. It feels much different, and you don't have that infrastructure yet, which is part of why I wrote the book Capacity, because I was like, what are the things that create that infrastructure for more capacity? And those 5 pillars were the things that I found that I personally really drove into that created the exponential growth. And that's what I've done at Tough Stump Technologies, and that's what I've been doing at SafeSpace Global.
Nice. So you wrote this book, which is kind of your guiding principles of how to build this company. And in the future, for people that are watching you now and they want to continue seeing your journey and get involved in some way, what kind of content will you be putting out so that they kind of get it, an expectation, an understanding of explanation of what you're going to do?
Yeah, so follow me on Instagram. Again, Dustin_Hillis, Hillis. Our social media keeps people pretty up to date on, there's a link in my bio if you wanted to pre-order the book on Amazon. You could go to Amazon and just type in my name, Dustin Hillis, and you could pre-order through Amazon today. We have at Tough Stump, I would say, LinkedIn is the best way to stay in touch with what's going on in the world of drones and technology. Just turn on the news and think, is it a good time to be in the military drone technology world? And the answer is yes. And so there's some very interesting cutting edge technology that's out there that a lot of people might want to follow. So you can follow me on LinkedIn, follow Tough Stump Technologies on LinkedIn. And that's a really good way to stay plugged in there. We have a newsletter, so you can, on most websites, I think Tough Stump, you can go to the newsletter there. At SafeSpace, you can go to SafeSpaceGlobal.ai and subscribe to the newsletter for investors. So really, that's an investor newsletter. So if you want to know what's going on in the world of investing in AI, we have a I think, weekly newsletter. So again, if you go to the website, www.safespaceglobal.ai, and you can subscribe to the newsletter. Again, Instagram is always great. Those are the channels I would use to stay in touch. We have contact us on there. So if you're somebody who's thinking, man, I need this product in my facility. So let's say you are involved in a school, you're involved in a senior living facility, healthcare, transportation, prisons. Or anywhere where you're thinking, man, these are the kind of products I'm interested in. You can go to the website and click contact us or contact me, and we can have somebody go do a demo for you. At Tough Stump, if you're in a first responder role or you're in the military and you're interested in tracking, training, technology for drones, you want to know about TAC. That's the ecosystem that we are experts in. Again, you can just reach out through the website for that.
Hey, real quick, guys, boost your productivity with time boxing. Even big names like Elon Musk swear by it. We've got a cool sheet to help you out.
Grab yours at bit.ly/timeboxsheet. If you don't like it, there's a 30-day money-back guarantee.
Amazing. All right, Dustin. Well, thank you. Well, we're coming to the end of the podcast. Like, for the people that are listening, towards the end, what would you like them to take away with, at this point in time?
Well, something we didn't touch on is just the topic of belief. I think your beliefs are the most important thing. For me, my belief in God and knowing that God has given me certain abilities and given me a calling that is my purpose in life to live into. And so taking time to think about what do you believe in, and taking time to really make sure that the things that you believe in are the priorities you're spending time on. And the priorities you spend your time on are what is creating your identity. Your identity is what drives your confidence. Your confidence is what drives your actions. Your actions are what drives your results. But it all starts with what do you believe in? So if you do believe in a higher power, as they would say in 12 steps, which is amazing. If somebody's out there struggling and they can't even think about some of these things we're talking about because they're just not an entrepreneur yet, they're not a CEO, and they're just going, where do I start? Start with your beliefs. Figure out what do you feel that God has put you on this earth to do, because that's powerful. Just understanding that is the most important thing. And then once you understand, like, why did God put me here? And then you start realizing what are the things I believe in, you can start stitching together a path to lead to your destiny. And that's the most important thing that I think everybody should focus on. And if you're curious about God, then explore it. And I promise he will answer the questions that you ask him, but most people are scared to ask.
Amazing. All right, Dustin. Well, thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate it. And for anyone staying till the end, check out Dustin, in his Instagram, Dustin_Hillis with the blue check mark. And Dustin, we're going to be, following up with you on your journey, maybe a year from now, seeing how you're doing. So hope to have you on in the future and just see how the progress and the growth goes. Okay.
Awesome. Thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Dustin.
A-List Nation, take advantage of those willing to connect who have been there, done that. Please act on the value shared today. By joining us, you're building yourself to deliver lasting value. Keep up that A-List energy, and until next time.